Good morning, students. Welcome back to your online classes. Hope you are all doing well at home. So, we have to continue with our studies. So, today's topic in our history is the first chapter of Indian history, that is the Indian national movement. That is the first war of independence, which is also called the Great Uprising of 1857. Now, in 1856, the English became the masters of the whole of India, and there was a gradual discontent, popular discontent and hatred, which started arousing against the company's administration. Company here refers to the East India Company. The British rule in India was denoted by the name the rule of East India Company. So there was a gradual resentment and discontent against the company's administration and foreign rule, and this caused the rise of different movements from the day of its beginning. And the first war of independence is also called the Sepoy Mutiny, or the uprising of 1857. So there were a great number of reasons for the great uprising. So we will just look into the causes. First is the political causes. The first main reason was the policy of annexation, which was started by Lord Dalhousie. Okay, so it was projected by Lord Dalhousie, or it was started by Lord Dalhousie, which is also called the doctrine of lapse. What is the doctrine of lapse? It was an all-round annexation of all the princely Indian states, abolition of titles and pensions, which was given to most of the Indian princes and rulers. And this was one of the main reasons for which the princes and rulers of the Indian states became staunch enemies of the British. According to the doctrine, if a ruler of a subordinate state died without an heir, his adopted son would not be granted the allowance to occupy the throne, and state will be annexed by the British Empire. So this was not accepted by many of the Indian princely states. So this was what the doctrine was all about, and it created a lot of resentment against for the princely Indian states. Next, disrespect shown to Bahadur Shah. The Mughals, House of Mughals, was also humbled when English announced that after the death of Bahadur Shah II, Mughals would lose the titles of kings, and successors would have to vacate the Red Fort. This hurt the sentiments of the Muslims, and gradually they started showing this was a great disrespect shown by the British to the Mughal emperor. Next, there was the ill treatment of Nana Sahib and Rani of Jhansi. Nana Sahib was the adopted son of uh, Bajirao to the last Peshwa. Okay, so after the death of the Peshwa, the English refused to acknowledge Nana Sahib as the ruler of the Marathas, and then there was Rani of Jhansi also, who also had an adopted, who was also not allowed to adopt a son, and gradually there was a cause of resentment against the British for that reason. Next, there was the annexation of Oudh. Dalhousie annexed Oudh to the British Empire in India under the pretext of misgovernance, as a result of which a lot, uh, a lot of nobles, gentlemen, officers, and soldiers were out of the job. The British confiscated the estates of the zamindars and the talukdars, which causes the dissatisfaction among the classes. So they rose in anger and went against the English. Disbanding the armies also of such these the annexed states, the armies of these annexed states were also disbanded, as a result of which a lot of soldiers, thousands of soldiers, lost their means of livelihood. This was also a matter of great hatred against the British. Next, on the other princes, the aggressive policy of British was also very provocative, and especially the Lord Dalhousie's doctrine of lapse. And the states where it was not annexed, it was suspicious of his designs, and they began to think that they would also might meet the similar fate, as a result of which they also became suspicious of the British Empire. Next, corrupt and inefficient administration. The British administration of India was very corrupt and inefficient. They had a feeling of superiority and treated the Indians with great contempt and arrogance and insulted them. So this was also one of the reasons for which there was a great hatred against the British. So these were the political causes which gave rise to the great uprising. Next we come to the social causes. The British, they interfered a lot in the social and religious life of the Indians. The main of these issues were British interference in the social and religious customs of the country. The Christian missionaries adopted various forceful methods to spread Christianity in India. They made violent attacks on Islam and Hinduism. They began to interfere in Hindu and Muslim culture, religious belief, customs, traditions. They began to convert Indians to Christianity by offering them jobs, rewards, promotions, etc. The government supported the activities of missionaries, and instructions to Christianity began to be given in government schools and jails. Next, the social and religious reforms. Practice of sati was abolished, child marriage, infanticide, polygamy was forbidden, widow remarriage was allowed and legalized. The people thought that British was unnecessarily interfering in the religious matters and wanted to ruin the social order. So this was also issues for inimical against them. Next, resentment against the Hindus and the Muslim priests. The spread of Western culture and education gave a severe blow to the honor, influence, and privileges of the Orthodox Pandits and Maulavis. So they thought that the introduction of Christianity was greatly dangerous for the rise of their own culture. Next, we have introduction of railways and telegraphs. Introduction of railways and telegraphs also created suspicion in the minds of the Indians. Why? They thought that these were the measures which were introduced by the British to spread Christianity in our country, and those who would be reluctant to embrace Christianity would be thrown away by railway engines or hanged by the telegraph posts. Okay. Next, introduction of new laws. In 1850, Lord Dalhousie passed a law which enabled them to convert to Christianity to inherit the ancestral property. So this was also a matter of great suspicion against the British. Then English began to ill-treat the ruling class, and with a feeling of superiority, they looked down upon the Indians, treated them with arrogance and insulted them. They crossed all limits of decency and humiliated them. They used many abusive languages to address them. Okay, so this was the great causes for the social and religious causes for the great resentment against the British. Next, we come to the economic causes. First is exploitation of economic resources of India. The British exploited the economic resources. This is a very important point. Enriched themselves at the cost of Indians. All trade and commerce were in the hands of British. Indian industries, the cottage industries, handicraft industries suffered a serious setback. Economic condition of the people gradually deteriorated, and people became miserable. Next, subordination of Indian economy to the British interests. English subordinated Indian economy to the interests of the British trade and industry. After the Industrial Revolution, British wanted to use India as a supplier of raw materials and market for their finished goods. So English exported raw materials from India and poured into India large quantities of manufactured goods in England. So which hit the Indian industries for quite a bad shape, made the Indian industries in quite a bad shape. Collapse of the Indian handicrafts. As I said that Indian cottage industries and Indian handicrafts were suffered a serious blow because raw materials were already taken by the British and it was put to use in England, which also proved very harmful against the for the Indian handicrafts. Then discontent among the Jagirdars and zamindars. The resumption of tax-free land, confiscation of jagirs caused discontent amongst the jagirdars and zamindars. So they attacked the William Bentinck attacked several jagirs, resumed the tax-free lands. This caused widespread resentment against the not only against for the landed aristocracy but also for a large section of the middle class people. Then Oudh's annexation was also the estates of zamindars and talukdars. annexation of Oudh. The estates of zamindars and talukdars were taken over by the British. They became dangerous opponents of British rule in India. The army of Nawab and Oudh was also disbanded. Unemployment among the people. After annexations, many civil and military officers and other employees lost their jobs. Many pensioners lost their pension, but English offered them no alternative employment. Okay, so this was main reasons. There are other also reasons which you can just mingle, like point number 7 and 8. I'll just discuss it in the live class so that you can mingle it with the different points. Okay, so just go through these points. The military causes, we'll just discuss it in the live class, and you have to go through the each and every line of this chapter, and we'll have a detailed discussion in the live class. Okay, thank you, students.